Star Wars is a tale as old as time. A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, is our fandom's Once Upon a Time, and that's completely okay with me. I love fairy tales. Star Wars is a fairy tale at its core, and all fairy tales share similarities. The sequel trilogy happens to have what I consider the strongest tale so far in the mainline saga, and that's of Ben and Rey's connection, or as the people say, Reylo. Ben Solo and Rey were linked way before The Last Jedi, no question. The idea that these two Force users would unite and potentially be the balance each other needs was already alluded to during The Force Awakens. Reylo is the point of this entire trilogy, and where Rian Johnson went with these two characters were answers to questions JJ already set up in his own film. Side note, if you honestly think that two people falling in love or forming a strong connection in Star Wars is lame or super Twilight, then I have to assume you actually never liked Star Wars to begin with. Now back to the video. What questions do I think JJ Abrams set up in The Force Awakens to prep us for that potent moment in TLJ? No, not that one. This one. I think the questions were, what would happen if two Force users on opposing sides realized they were more alike than they would want to admit? What if both of these people had a troubled childhood centered around parental abandonment? What if these people are pretending to be something they aren't? And what if all this time, all they really wanted was to belong? For me, Rian's mission was showing us what Kylo and Rey could achieve together if they are in harmony. JJ's mission was placing breadcrumbs throughout The Force Awakens, so this relationship would be inevitable. Reylo, for me, doesn't specifically cater to only a sense of romance between these two characters. It goes deeper than that. It's a living dualism. Without the dark, there can be no light, and The Last Jedi finally acknowledges this, but it took careful setup. The foundation of this connection, at least in my eyes, began on Takodana when Rey encountered Kylo Ren in the forest. One quick observation for people who did not pick up on this yet, Reylo's excluded, is that Takodana is basically a classic fairy tale setting. Castle, heroine in distress, prince. Kylo Ren used the mind probe on Rey to obtain information about the star map just like he did with Poe, but rather than having her escorted back to the shuttle by stormtroopers, he puts her to sleep or force faints her and proceeds to carry her in his own arms. It was really interesting to me at the time that he chose to do this, and obviously now I understand why. He chose to carry Rey all the way to his ship rather than let her get dragged around by troopers. He cared for her safety, at least this is what I believe. It had me wondering if during the initial mind probe, he felt what Rey truly feels about her parents. Maybe he sensed her longing for an answer as to why she was tossed away. Maybe he saw how she lies to herself and to others about her predicament on Jakku. Either way, something happened here to cause Kylo Ren to place Rey literally into his arms. An idea that has been growing in my mind concerning Kylo Ren is perhaps that in his youth when he was sent to Uncle Luke, maybe he had a moment just like Rey did, watching her caregivers leave her. Maybe young Ben Solo saw the Falcon taking off from Luke's academy, and then Ben ran after it, screaming for Han to come back. Now this is probably something that is not going to be seen, something that probably won't even happen on film, but it's something I often consider when thinking about Kylo Ren's interrogation of Rey. Now with that said, the other extremely potent moment for setup of Reylo in The Force Awakens is when Rey wakes up in Kylo Ren's interrogation chamber. On the one hand, Kylo Ren does want to get answers about the map to Luke for his own selfish reasons, and for his master. But Kylo is also curious about Rey. Rey is the girl he's heard so much about. The interrogation scene starts with Rey literally awakening, but Kylo is watching her with his helmet on. Now, I don't think Kylo has, I believe it's called somnophilia, and that's when you get attracted to people who are sleeping. But what I think he has is a sense of this connection for the first time to somebody else other than a wrinkly giant hologram who wears gold slippers. Now let's go way back to what I originally said in my first paragraph, tale as old as time. Why did I even mention that? Well, as far as I can tell, JJ Abrams used a lot of imagery similar to Beauty and the Beast, and if you think I'm wrong, hold on. Yeah. Then, in the interrogation room, he tells Rey she is his guest. He might as well have started singing Be Our Guest out loud to really drive home this similarity. Rey calls him just some creature in a mask because for all Rey knows, Kylo Ren, this dark warrior, is a monster until he decides to show Rey his actual face. When Kylo shows who he really is to Rey, she is completely confused. She's looking at a handsome, tall guy with a nice head of hair and extremely needy eyes. He's just a boy pretending to be this evil warrior. And while he maintains this front a bit with the mask off, Rey ends up exposing more of his own vulnerabilities, and that's not something Ren is used to. This scene has a lot of tears, it has close talking, and it has fear. To me, that kind of sounds like a first date, but joking aside, this is a scene showing off that Kylo Ren wants to get to know who Rey is. Although she turned the tables in the interrogation room by exposing Kylo Ren's greatest fear, he doesn't lash out at her. He goes to his master to let him know what happened, and that she is strong in the Force. Of course, Snoke wants this girl brought before him. He does not want the Jedi to be reborn. But as far as I can tell, Kylo wants to keep Rey around. He wants a Force friend. And yeah, I realize how that sounds. And to close this all up, the lightsaber duel on Starkiller base really did seal the Reylo deal. Kylo Ren is not at all interested in killing Rey. He wants to see how strong she is, and he wants to see what she is capable of. Now, somebody's going to comment down here, but why did he force push her against a tree so brutally? Well, remember, in this moment, Kylo Ren is dealing with the fact that he just killed his father, he's gotten shot, and he's bleeding out. He's currently unbalanced. When Rey and Kylo lock sabers on Starkiller base, he lays it bare that he wants to be Rey's teacher and to show her the ways of the Force. He doesn't say he wants to train her to be a Sith or a Jedi. Kylo Ren says to train her in the ways of the Force. Kylo Ren and Rey are something else completely in my eyes than just mere Jedi or Sith. Of course, their allegiances in the film follow the tropes of the original trilogies, but to me, the two of them are the dualism of the Force incarnate. I think deep down that the two of them also know this truth, or at least they do after The Last Jedi. In The Force Awakens, they were not able to be in harmony yet. There wasn't enough intimacy created between the two of them. The Last Jedi's Force bond created that space for actual intimacy, and I'm sure a lot of people were shocked when they saw this in theaters, was what that all built towards. Besides the hand touch through the Force, this all led towards the most intense battle on the supremacy, as Kylo Ren and Rey finally started to work together. AT-AT Chat, signing off.